started. First up today, we have a point of personal privilege for Senator Hott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to ask my three shadows to stand up and give a wave out when I call their name. This is Shadow Week for me from Clay Center High School. Laura Pullman's government class, three great young men. Lane Musselman, and he is strong. Ryan Benefor, and he does not know J-Lo or Ben Affleck. I'm doing these mnemonics, so I always remember the name. And Alec Tipsword, if you need a stock tip, I think he's the guy for you. But could you give them a warm Senate welcome to our committee? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Enjoy your day in the Capitol. Committee will turn our attention to the hearing on Senate Bill 309. Adam, can you give us a briefing?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 309 would designate a portion of United States Highway 69 as the AMM2C Walter Scott Brown Memorial Highway. The portion of highway to be named would consist of U.S. Highway 69 from the northern junction of U.S. Highway with K52, in Lynn County, and then head south on U.S. Highway 69 to the southern junction of with K52 Highway. I believe that's about a 9-mile stretch of highway. I looked it up yesterday. The Secretary of Transportation would install these signs once the cost requirements provided by law would be fulfilled. And with that, I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Committee, any questions for Adam? Seeing none. First on our agenda, we have listed as proponent Kevin Barnes from Yates Center. Welcome to the committee.
Good morning, Senators, and thank you for having me. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Aviation Machinist Mate 2nd Class Walter Scott Brown. Brown was from Pleasanton, Kansas, and he enlisted in the Navy on January 9th, 1940. He was assigned to the Patrol Squadron VP 24 on October 9th of that year. Brown advanced to the rank of Aviation Machinist Mate 2nd Class on November 1st, 1941. He worked on PBY Catalina patrol planes. These are seaplanes that can take off from water. He was assigned to Naval Air Station Kaneohe Bay, Oahu, Hawaii, and on the morning of December 7th, 1941, the Japanese Navy attacked Pearl Harbor and several other military bases on Oahu, including Kaneohe Bay. Without regard for his own life, Brown, who was trained to fly the Catalinas, got into a plane and was killed as the Japanese attack plane strafed the base. Brown was commended by the Commander-in-Chief of the United States, Commander of the Chief of the United States Fleet for his selfless bravery. Walter Scott Brown is buried in Arlington National Cemetery. In his honor, the Navy destroyer escort ship Walter S.B. SE-258 was laid down January 10th of 1943, and for the remainder of the war in Europe, Walter S. Brown continued to escort convoys on round trips from the East Coast of the United States to North Africa ports. I firmly believe that since the United States Navy recognized this hero from Kansas for his bravery and sacrifice by naming a ship in his honor, it would be fitting for his home state to recognize his bravery and sacrifice by naming a portion of the US 69 highway in his home county in his honor as well. Do you have any questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Senator Tyson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Brown, for bringing this to us. It is in my district that you would be naming a portion of the highway. I know you've worked diligently on this for a couple of years now. Appreciate it.
I appreciate your help with the process.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for having the hearing.
Committee, further questions? Senator Hott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you also for bringing this to us. It's always interesting to me how what I think this greatest generation did for us and how united our country was in that war effort. And the old saw that there's 6 degrees of separation. My dad was a World War II veteran, and I'd like to think that Walter S. Brown's ship was one of the ships that probably escorted his convoy, because he started out in Africa with General Patton and went all the way up through Sicily and Italy and into France and Germany to almost to the Battle of the Bulge. So I think we have a lot of war heroes. Sadly, we're losing them in terms of this, so I think it's very appropriate that we remember these sacrifices, and I think naming a highway in honor of Walter Scott Brown is really an incredibly kind thing to do, but a thing to jog our memories of what true sacrifice is. So thank you.
I would totally agree. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Committee, further questions? Seeing none, are there any other thank you for your testimony. Are there any other proponents wishing to testify? Anyone wishing to testify as an opponent? Any neutrals? We will close the hearing on Senate Bill 309. Committee, next on our agenda, I would like to take a look at a couple bills we worked yesterday. The first one being Senate Bill 446. Adam, could you give us a briefing?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 446 would designate the 3 bridges in Cherokee County as Veterans Memorial Bridge. There'd be 1 bridge on US Highway 166, and then 2 bridges on K66 Highway. And then lastly, the Secretary would install the bridges once the cost requirements were fulfilled.
Committee, any questions on this? Senator Pittman.
Mr. Chair, for the reviser, so it sounds like we're talking about naming 3 bridges, not just 1 bridge, right? And they're all going to be named Veterans Memorial Bridge?
That is correct.
Mr. Chair, we don't usually name all 3 things the same thing. You know, it's a little bit out of the norm, I would say, to take 3 and just kind of swipe it like that in one county. I think I'm very supportive of it, but it just seems a little unusual, sir.
It did seem unusual. Further comments or questions? Committee, it's probably a consent calendar item if anybody would like to make a motion. Senator Hott.
So moved, Mr. Chairman, as a consent item for the consent calendar.
It's been moved by Senator Hawks, seconded by Senator Dietrich, that Senate Bill 446 be passed out favorable for passage and placed on, because of a non-controversial nature, be placed on the consent calendar. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It's on its way. Committee will turn our attention now to Senate Bill 313, which was a bill we heard yesterday. Adam, you want to give us a quick briefing?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 313 would designate a portion of US Highway 69 as the Senator Tom R. Van Sickle Memorial Highway. Again, this would be on US Highway 69, Bourbon County from the junction with 54 and then to the Lynn County line. Then also, lastly, the cost, or once the signs would be installed, once the Secretary of Transportation received the cost requirements provided by law.
Committee, further questions? Senator Tyson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did have an amendment for this, but if we do an amendment, we will not be able to put it on the consent calendar.
That would be fine.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do you have an amendment prepared?
Yes, I do.
If you can distribute it. Senator Tyson,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What this bill would do is insert the contents of 447, naming a bridge in Pittsburgh, Kansas, the Dennis Crane Bridge.
committee, further questions? Senator Hawk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was noticing over here that originally it was a Dennis and Jane Crane, and am I seeing that you're taking that part out and just doing it as Dennis, and if so? Sorry, didn't have my, if so, what's the thinking about that?
Senator Tyson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for the question, Senator. Actually, it was in respect to you. Jane is still alive. And out of respect to you, what we've had in the past is we've tried to make it so that people that are still with us are not named highways and bridges. So that's why we're removing Jane's name.
I do remember that debate in here.
You do,
Thank you for
and it's out of
for
respect.
recalling that very pleasant moment in the phone call I had to that former governor, reminding him of the good news, bad news. Thank you.
We're glad that former governor was recognized on 35, just south of Salina. Committee, further questions on the amendment? Senator Hawk.
One of the things I like about doing this is we get a little bit of history. Could you give us a little history on Dennis?
I can. Actually, there was a letter that was sent, and my mistake that we did not get that distributed. I can find that, but the Crane family has started a business, and it's been in the family for a couple of generations. This bridge is right next to the family business, American Concrete.
Could we get a little
More information?
on Dennis, on the Crane himself?
Yes, I would have to pull up the letter. I apologize. Thank you, committee, for your patience. I will get the letter distributed to the committee also. They owned a family business spanning over 51 years, and the current owner is third generation. The grandfather originally started the business. The father joined the company in 1974 after the parents were married, and they're requesting that the bridge be located next to the business called the Dennis Crane Bridge. The father's involvement in community organizations and dedicated quality ready-mix concrete and employing countless employees over the years is the reason for the request.
I take that as a motion on your amendment.
I will move my amendment. Thank you.
We have a second. Seconded by Senator Pittman. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, amendment's adopted. Committee, we're back on the bill. Senator Hawk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I apologize for not speaking to you ahead of the meeting. It's my recollection that sometimes we combine our naming of bridges and highways into a single bill, and I just want to ask your advice on that. And I didn't prepare an amendment, but would there be any advantage to us in terms of place, since we've already amended this and can't put it on consent calendar, to add the Walter Scott Brown Memorial Highway to this?
I believe that's what we're doing. This is adding it to the Walter Scott.
Oh.
Senate Bill 313.
I thought this is a Tom Van Sickle bill, so this is a different one. This is 313, and that would have been the one we heard today, 309. But if that would help us in terms of potentially having a vehicle for something else that comes up, I would be happy to move that if that's permissible. Or,
Wouldn't be a problem with me if you want to work this bill today. That's absolutely fine. Are you
So, yeah, I'll move that we amend Senate Bill 309 into Senate Bill 313.
Second.
Seconded by Senator Tyson. Further discussion? Well, committee, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It's adopted.
I would be proud to carry it, and I'll make the motion to move the bill favorably out of committee as amended.
Do you have a second? Seconded by Senator Dietrich. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Bill's on its way. Committee, you will see on the next agenda that there'll be, it'll say meeting on call the chair for Monday. I do not intend to meet on that unless some of our other bills have some miracles come together, and we will hold on that. If you do, we'll announce it and also send an email out if there is a meeting. But I do, right now at this point, I do not expect us to meet, but it will be on the agenda as meeting on call the chair. It's amazing, since Senator Wilborn has joined us, we've only had short meetings. Normally we're running over, and I hope he continues that tradition. I don't think so. Also, committee, many of you are getting contacts on the CDL driver's license issue. After turnaround, we plan on having a presentation on that. They have some flow charts that's been developed that will help you answer people's questions, and we'll get the full information on where we're going. With that, we are adjourned.